G'day, Professor Joseph Drew, back here in Moonbi after my trip down to Federation Shire to do the community engagement. I should have done this video a few weeks ago, but I'm still sick with the flu, which I caught on the way home on the Qantas aeroplane. In this video, I'll set out the main findings and respond to some of the more prominent comments. Obviously, I can't go through everything. There will be a full report that you'll be able to read in full. But this will give you a pretty good flavour of what actually happened. So just a reminder, we sent out fact sheets, we had surveys, we had responses from those surveys. In the fact sheets, we asked people to come to meetings. Of course, we couldn't compel anyone to come to meetings. We could only do our best, which was to run 6 meetings, which we did. We worked from about 6 a.m. to 9 or 10 p.m. every day. We went to Miranda and Oaklands and Howlong and Moala and Corowa and Urena, and I think I've got more, 6 places. We also did an online one, which went for well over 2 hours too. So there were lots of opportunities. People around town who I asked whether they were going to it or not, and they said no, and I said, well, why not? They said, look, we've already got the information and the work you did last year. We know that you've done it independently, we trust the process, and we accept that this SRV is going to happen. Now, people tend to fill in surveys and go to events when they have a strong feeling either way, and that's good. They're the sorts of people you want to talk to. But you need to bear that in mind when you're looking at the results that follow. Just a reminder, there will be a full report. All this will be in black and white. I haven't hidden anything from anyone. Even the negative comments are there, are in the video. I just want to deal with as much information as I can and try to get us all on the same page. So I'm going to share now with you the findings from the post-meeting surveys. I and IPART in the past have put the greatest emphasis on what people think after they come to a meeting and listen to me for an hour or more, get to ask questions, get to hear the answers. They're what we call informed responses. You know, if you fill in a survey and you don't have all the information, you may have some misconceptions. I think that's pretty obvious. If you go to the meeting, get more informed, you're likely to have more a different response, and that's what we found in other councils, and that was what we found in your council too. So people after the meeting got to fill in the same question that was in the fact sheet, which is what's your preference, and after the meeting 84% of people said that their preference was for an SRV. Now there was a question after that said, did this response change from last time if you filled in the previous survey? And 63%, 2/3 of people said, more or less, said that yes, I've changed my mind. And that's great. That's a phenomenal result. And it's so good that people went and got information and were open to the information and open to the argument. And I asked everyone that went to these meetings to go out and have conversations with other people. You know, we don't hide any of the information. All the information went through are all in the full reports. They'll be all out for you to read in full if you wish to read it. And what we're finding is that when people get more information, they tend to change their opinion. Obviously, no one wants to pay extra tax. I didn't either when it happened in my local government area. But more and more people are saying, look, we don't want to do this, but we accept that there is a real need and there aren't any other real good options. There's still some people saying no, as you can see. I'm not trying to hide that at all. 16% more or less saying no. And some people who didn't change their mind, that's fine. It's called a democracy. We're never going to get 100% of people to all agree on anything in this country or in any other country. So that's fine. The only, excuse me, the only thing I ask, I'm dying of the flu, is that you leave your mind open and you're willing to give good reasons for your position and you're willing to listen to good reasons for alternate positions. This last graph here is really interesting, size preference. You know, there's more people now saying that they would prefer a bigger SRV than a smaller one. Now, the one that I've proposed, I think it's the best balance. It gives us time. It's also the best option in the current political and economic climate. And the majority of people agree with that. And I've not been given any compelling reasons in any of the surveys or any of the meetings to change the proposal that was put before the community. That's unusual. Most people, as you can see, are agreeing. There's always disagreements, and if they can give really good reasons why we should change, of course I would change. I just haven't been given compelling reasons to change at this point. So now let me talk about some specific comments. In the report, I list lots and lots of these comments, and I summarize them in tables and things like that. I'm not trying to hide anything or put a positive spin on anything, but people may or may not believe that the most common comment was, we support this 100%. The next most common was, it was extremely informative presentation and we wished more people had come, or something of that sort. That's just the facts. The surveys will be handed over to IPART, and you can rest assured that they can check that for you if you don't want to believe me. Anyway, here's some of these comments, and here's my brief responses to them. Now, my apologies if your particular comment's not being here, but none of us want to sit here for an hour. So someone wrote, and these are typical comments, I appreciate that this increase is necessary, but I would like to have a guarantee that money will be spent on the essential infrastructure. Well, I would like to have a guarantee too. There's no way of guaranteeing that in the legislation. IPART won't guarantee that because it's almost impossible also for them in the legislation in a democracy. As I said in the meeting, you're going to have elections in September. People will vote, and those votes actually mean something and count and matter. So think very carefully about the way you vote. I do know, and I did tell people at the meetings, and I'm hand on heart, this is what I believe. The current staff, senior staff, and the current councillor team are all on board. This is where we all think the money's going, on the essentials. But as I said, democracy, things can change very quickly. I can't give any guarantees about things I don't control, like how you vote. So, next comment. Very informative presentation, Professor Drew. There were some even nicer comments, and thank you for the nice people. It's not fun doing this work. I get nothing out of it. It's a really heart-wrenching, difficult thing to do. I don't enjoy being people's punching bags on occasions or anything else. So thank you for the nice comments. There was about a dozen of them. It's a pity that not more attended. Yes, 100%. It is a pity. So go out and tell people about what happened in the meeting and what you found and what you learnt. Please do it. Please help me. I can't do it all myself. The council staff can't do it all themselves. The councillors, people running for election can't do it all themselves. People, everyone that went to those meetings and got informed, you are also responsible for your community, more so than me. It's not my community. Please go out and have those difficult conversations. It's not easy bringing up the topic of local government and local government tax increases, but have them. We need to get the message out. So I'm putting that one back on you guys to help me out on this. We all want the best outcome for the community. That's what this has always been about. So someone wrote, there was, I think, 2 or 3 criticisms about the survey. Look, if you issue any survey and there's not a criticism about the survey, you'd be astounded. I'd probably drop down dead of my 3rd heart attack if that had happened. So you always get criticisms. This is pretty typical of it. The survey is worded in a way that gives no choice but to agree with council. I reject that. Every question you had lots of choices, every conceivable choice, and most of the choices I didn't agree with. Often I put the choice that I didn't agree with first, not always. I had to do it in a sensible, logical format, but there were always choices, and there were always, in every survey I ever give, there's always opportunity to write lengthy comments, and people write them, and that's fine, and that's great, and that's what I want, and I read every one, and I think about it like this comment. No one blocked you into anything. What I suspect is the case for these people is that the circumstances leave them with no choice, and they're not happy that the circumstances leave them with no choice. And I'm not surprised, and my sympathy goes to you. You are in a financial sustainability crisis, and part of the resolution of that crisis will be an SRV, and that's not a nice thought. But they're the circumstances. Don't blame the survey on the messenger. Think about the circumstances themselves is my recommendation there. Next comment. Apart from being financially burdened by these extra charges, never has anyone suggested that this isn't a huge burden, and we're very sorry. I don't know a single person whose heart doesn't go out to the community for having to pay this extra rate increase. So I agree with that sentiment. The second sentiment I do not agree with one little bit. I think it is disgusting that council can dictate these extra rate increases without seeing any local improvements to services to ratepayers. Well, there's two parts of this. First of all, council can't dictate anything. It's just not possible under the rules and the laws. So council will have to take a vote to put this SRV submission forward to IPART, and IPART will determine whether the rate increase is allowed or not. Last time they allowed it in part. This time I'm hoping they'll see the significance of our circumstances and improve it in full, and see that a repeated process is just costing more and ballooning out those implicit debts. So council can't dictate it. They can vote and they can put forward a proposal. It will be IPART, an independent body, that decides whether it happens or not, without seeing any local improvement to services to ratepayers. That's never what this SRV's been about. People will say, what am I getting for this? You're not getting anything new. You're getting a financially sustainable council. You're getting more money spent on maintenance of roads, so you don't have a great big disaster in the future when it costs 8 times more to fix the roads because we didn't maintain them when we should have. And you're getting to know that we paid our fair share and we're not leaving a great big burden to the next generation. That's what you're getting for this. Nothing extra. We can't afford any extra. This is all about the essentials. So here's another comment, another typical comment. These are all typical comments. Not much happens now, so why pay more for nothing? I'm getting that a lot in villages. Well, as I said, what you're paying for is to do the maintenance we should have done so we don't get a huge disaster down the track in the very near future. You're paying to also make sure that you're paying your fair share of the burden for the public goods and services so that a future generation is not going to be left with the tab. Now, the second part's interesting. If the price increase happens, it will exceed some current Sydney councils. Yes, it certainly will. Which have exceptional services. Yes, they certainly do, and I'm jealous of them too. Such as footpaths, curbside guttering, rah. Nice parks and gardens, adventure playgrounds, all sorts of things. Yes, it's completely unfair. Typically, people in the bush pay way more rates, 2 or 3 times as much as a proportion of income than what they do in the cities. We're supposed to have the financial assistance grants, which the legislation says should be distributed according to horizontal fiscal equalisation, so everyone gets a fair go, and that's clearly not happening. If it was happening, we'd all have the similar standard of services, and we don't, and it's not fair. But that's a separate issue to this SRV, and it's an issue your councillors are really pushing really hard, particularly the mayor at these state forums that I've talked to you about previously. So it is unfair, you're right, but neither you nor I can actually afford to buy a house in Sydney, so you need to remember that as well. But I want a fairer go for the bush. I've always been up front saying that, and I've been advocating for many years, and as I said, I've been really happy with the support I had from your councillors. That's what's got me in front of LG New South Wales and the Country Mayors Association and things like that, and we're really pressing the case more so than ever before, and it actually has been because of your councillors, so remember that. Another comment, and there was a few like this: continue collaboration with the university. When I work for a community, I never disappear. I don't care about the money. I don't get any of it anyway. I'm here to help. This is not my job. It requires extra work. I'm here because I want to help communities. But I also don't stick my nose in where it doesn't belong. So all the councillors know anytime they want confidential advice or whatever, they can ring me. Incoming councillors, same deal for you. I don't have any partisanship for any particular councillor. If you want the advice, if you want free, frank and fearless advice and honest advice where it's in my expertise, I'll give it to you anytime. What you do with it's your business. I'm not going anywhere, but I won't be sticking my nose in the business. So if the councillors want me to turn up in the meeting and talk to them, I will do it. I do it for councils all the time for free in my own time. That's what I'm here to do, to help. And yeah, I think it's a good idea. Private enterprise would do better. I made a whole video about it. Yeah, they would, says Milton Friedman and most economists. But having said that, don't get misled into the nirvana fallacy. Private business is not perfect. Okay, private business is frequently ripping off people. You know, Qantas just got caught for it. ANZ got caught for it. PwC got caught for ripping off all taxpayers. Private businesses go belly up. Look at Rex. Look at the ABC learning centres and all those housing builders have left people with half-built houses. It happens all the time. So maybe they would do some things better. I think that most people would be appalled with the result if local government was run like a private business. There'd be no equity. If it didn't pay to provide services for a tiny little community like Miranda, it just wouldn't happen. Private business wouldn't be there. If you want local government to be run like that, local government wouldn't be there. Now, I know they're not there in a big way, but at least they're there in a bit of a way. And that's why we have government in the first place, because of market failure, because private business can't do it all. Next comment, and I think it's my last comment, is this should have been implemented years ago. Agree. So did the councillors back in 2015, agree. From both of the constituent councils, that's when it should have been done, or earlier. There was a very brave former councillor stand up in one of the meetings. I never got to think of, I was trying to get there and someone else got hold of me, who said, look, I now know we should have done this earlier. I wish we had have. But you know what? Hindsight's a wonderful thing, and we're all geniuses in hindsight, even me. Reality is that most people are trying to do the best they can with the information they have at the time. Your current council was really, whether you like them or not, they were really courageous going through a strictly independent process. And anyone that knows me knows that you don't get to push me around. And they got really good information, and they've done a lot better this time. And I'm sure IPART's going to feel the same, and you're going to get the SRV approved. But you can only make the best decision that you can at the time with the information you have. And we all wish it had been done years ago, but years ago people were saying they didn't want it, so you can never win, can you? Look, I'm not going anywhere. I'll continue to make videos. I'll do workshops for the new councillors and be there to help your community anytime your community wants me to help. If you don't want me to help, let me know and I won't. It's up to you guys. It's your community. I want you guys to go out, remember, spread the word, give good reasons for your position, whatever they are, whether you've got a different position to me or not, I don't mind. But give good reasons and be prepared to listen to other people's reasons. Thank you very much for your time over this whole journey. You've been a great community. You deserve the best, and I'm very grateful for your support and openness. Thank you very much for your time. Goodbye.